Good afternoon and welcome to the May 17th, 2010 informational meeting. Normally we would jump right into the city staff report, but I'd like to take a moment to recognize our 4 new council members. We have Rex Rolfing, Sue Aguilar, Jim Intiman, and Michelle Uppenbach. Welcome to our first official meeting. And I see we have the new mayor here. Mike, welcome. All right, we'll start off with the city staff report with Deborah A. Owen, City Clerk, Chief of Council Operations.
Thank you, and good afternoon, City Council and Mayor. Just a couple of, if I could, thank yous to those who kind of made this ceremony just a few hours ago very successful. Central Services, Mike Holland's staff, on his team, Media Services, Building Services, and Channel 16 crew did an excellent job of helping out. We did have, of course, a full house in the Carnegie Chambers. The overflow room also was full, and then outside we had about 20 people who had viewed the ceremony under the oak tree outside the Carnegie Town Hall building. Also to our own council staff, an excellent job, I think, of pulling things together, and then the Edison School students, which was a new thing for all of us, and I think the kids did a great job, and just really appreciated their help. Now, there were a couple of questions for item 22, and I saw that email come through from Mike Cooper, and so I will also just let the council know that item number 26, you had received a memo from Scott Rust in Finance, and he is here today to ask, you can ask any additional questions of him for item 26 on the 7 o'clock meeting tonight. That is everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Deborah? Okay, it looks like we'll move on to Mike Uther.
Thank you. I too just wanted to thank everybody for helping us get ready for today's event. Kind of thinking outside of the box a little bit. The first time we've done something outside, but I'm very, very pleased that we did. My comments will be brief. I truly am looking forward to working with this city council. I think that truly it has the makings of one of the strongest city councils in the history of Sioux Falls. Many of you have been involved in stewardship activities across the city and across the state for many, many years. You're a forward-looking group. You're a group that wants to get things done for the city. I look forward to having a higher level of transparency between the city government employees, the city government department heads, the mayor of Sioux Falls, and with the clerk's office, as well as with all of the city councilors. Challenge us at times as you deem fit, and ultimately, I'm sure we're going to make progress. Like I told the people of Sioux Falls today, I know there will be times where we will disagree, but ultimately we will meet in the middle and then move forward. For the people of Sioux Falls to know, I've also asked the city council to try to prioritize the things that they believe are important for the city, short-term, medium-term, and long-term, because I think that they should also hold a role in terms of trying to set the agenda for the city of Sioux Falls. They're working on that now, and we'll continue to massage that over time. But again, I'm humbled, I'm flattered to be here, and thanks. And I will make an attempt to beat these 4 o'clock informational meetings, Councilor Jameson, as much as I can. I see the importance of it. Plus, I need to learn, as you folks know. I'm new. I'm coming from the outside, so I've got much to learn, and I know these informational meetings will provide that for me. So thank you.
Any questions of Mayor Mike? Mike, you're always welcome. Okay. It's kind of odd, but I suppose we could start through the reports, even though we don't have a lot of committees working right now and or their chairpersons in place, but we'll go through them, and I think as we get through to open discussion, we'll discuss some of those committees. But we'll start with the audit report. I could let you know that we're going to be meeting May 20th at 4 p.m. and right here in the overflow room if you're interested in coming. Next, we would go to the fiscal committee. And I don't know if there's anybody who served on that committee. That's okay.
I would just say that we typically meet the first Monday of every month right after this meeting, and I don't know that we have anything scheduled right now, but typically we usually have something on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Land Use Committee, which Bob Litz is on. You could maybe update us with anything there, Bob?
Well, I have nothing, there's no reports that are coming up, but, the Land Use Committee, as it says, it involves itself with zoning, building issues, development in Sioux Falls, streets, that infrastructure, that sort of thing, if there's questions. We look to the IRAB board, which is comprised of citizens, developers, and city officials that, put together a lot of the ideas that are moving this city down the road. And look forward to staying on that committee, and I look forward to some of the new members helping me, on that committee. So if you think that's something that interests you, please step forward at the time when we do the committees, and, welcome me on.
Very good, Bob. Thanks. Public Services Committee? Kenny or Vernon?
Go ahead, Vernon. That was.
We've done the working load for the last year, right, Kenny? This committee is sort of the catch-all for any public services, and we meet the second Monday of every month right after this. So if you have interest in that committee, talk to Greg, and Greg will get the assignments made.
Thank you. Now we'll move to city open discussion. I just have one item I need to cover. How do you guys want to be referred to? I mean, do you like your first names, or you want to be council member, your honorable? What do you guys usually, you like at home, you probably go by your honor, right? But what would you guys like?
Just when my kids say
Yeah.
that, address me.
I'm pretty casual. I usually just remember first names, but tell me what you guys would like so I do it properly, if there's any feelings. Yes?
Mr. Chair, I would suggest that when you are the chair that, in between us, we could certainly use each other's first names, but I like to raise that bar up a little bit and have a little bit of decorum, and I would suggest, I did when I was the chair, is we refer to each other as Mr. or Mrs., or Mr. or Madam Counselor, to start this discussion off, and after that, I think, if we use each other's names, that would be good.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
If I might, I would agree with Councilor Litz that that's part of that decorum in the chambers, that as much as some of us may feel uncomfortable about it, I would prefer to be called Councilor Erpenbach in lieu of Your Royal Highness. But that's family and friends. Thanks.
I'll do my best. Let's start with open discussion here. Any comments? Don't be shy, you new guys.
Might be kind of quiet without Councilor Knutson here for a little bit.
Who's got something? Come on.
I'd like to just say, or pay special recognition to the past weekend for our armed forces, and say thank you to all of them publicly for what they've done for our country.
Thank you, Councilman Rolfing. Anybody else? Well, we can hang on and come around a little bit later. We could go to some presentations that we have. I believe Scott Rust is here to update us with some items. Scott?
Scott Rust with the City Purchasing Office. Before you tonight, we have an ordinance running. I believe you've all received a memo from Deborah Olin, the City Clerk, regarding the changes to Ordinance 34 and a half. And a little background here, I think you guys have, like I said, have received the memo. This year, the 2010 South Dakota Legislature passed a bill, 1046, updating all the procurement laws within the state of South Dakota. A little history behind these procurement laws go back, and they date back to the 1940s and 50s. They're quite old. Some of them have been updated through the years. However, the state felt the need to go ahead and change these ordinances. So what they did is they repealed chapters 5-18, 19, and 23, and put everything into one big bill, which was House Bill 1046, which was signed into law this year. And what it's done is it's updated some things for the the city and the states and the counties as far as the changes to what's been happening in procurement for municipalities. And it's a pretty good bill. We had an opportunity to go out and help make changes to the bill. The Municipal League worked with us, and I played a big role in that. I worked with Yvonne Taylor. There was a few changes we were able to make. There were some that we weren't. The state wasn't very flexible on, but all in all, I think we ended up with a real good bill here. It was definitely changes that were needed. In this memo, I have highlighted some of the major changes, and I think you'll find that the changes will kind of bring us up to where all the other states and counties and cities are at within the United States also. So I'm glad we got it done. It was, since I've taken the position as the purchasing manager for the city, it's one thing that I always complained about is that these laws are old and we're working with some outdated statutes. So I have to commend the state for coming through and taking the lead on this thing and working with the counties, the cities, and the school districts to make this new law what it is today. So, any questions regarding the changes that are going to be made in the ordinance tonight?
Scott, would you talk to us about the benefit of raising that bid limit from $25,000 to $50,000?
Sure.
How does that help us?
Sure. I'm going to start from where other states are at first. Other states that surround us, Minnesota, North Dakota, Iowa, are currently at $100,000 for raising the bid limit on construction. Typically, construction projects, typically, most of them are over $100,000. We have some smaller projects here at the city. For example, we build picnic shelters, we do sidewalk work, and a lot of those contracts need to be professionally or go out for the full sealed bid process. And really, we can save some time and efficiencies in the departments by allowing departments to go ahead, put the bid specs, and get them out on the street a lot sooner rather than having to wait the 2 weeks to advertise. We've got the advertising costs in there. It just slows the whole process down. And everybody says, it takes so long to get something bid, and it does. It'll take you a couple months before you know who is the awarded contractor in that process. Well, this will speed that up, 2 to 3 weeks at least. The Mark Cotter's group will continue to do bids for them. They'll just be informal. They just won't be advertised. They will be sent to a group of contractors. They'll be posted, say at bid exchanges, et cetera. Nothing's really going to change. However, we don't have to go through the mandatory advertising period where you have to publish it twice within 10 days and then open the following Thursday. You eliminate all that. You're speeding government up is what we're doing here. And thus, we're raising the bid limit. Like, for example, a picnic shelter, we can't even do one informally anymore. I mean, by the time you get the cement slab poured and you get it framed and roofed and everything like that, sometimes, depending on the size, you're over $25,000, you got to bid it. A small project like that, you'd like to be able to just push that one through. We do have all the checks and balances in place with our current informal system. Nothing would really change. The process is there already. We're just raising the limit.
Councilor Rolfing?
Scott,
Yes,
you indicated there were some things that you liked and didn't like about this. Tell us about the things you don't like about it.
There's some things in there in the current law. Obviously, the law is 35 pages right now. Some of the things in the current law that we follow, for example, the things I didn't like right away going through the process was the emergency clause. They had it very restrictive. For example, if we were hosting the basketball tournament at the arena and we had a major repair that was needed or something that needed to be taken care of, we'd have to go through a sealed bidding process. And I worked with the state, and I worked with their procurement manager and the commissioner there, and we were able to get that changed so it was a little broader, for us to declare an emergency if necessary, if it affected the health and well-being of the people, and it would have prevented us from having, a basketball tournament there like the Summit League. So that was one of the exceptions I had.
So the ones that you want to change, you were able to get changed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I had good luck there. So they worked with me. They did a good job. They were fair.
You're generally happy with what we've got then?
I think so, yeah. I would say that what we've got here is much better than what we've had in the past, and I'm willing to accept it. We're going to be able to buy off other cities' bids from outside our state, well, which is great. It's gone through the competitive process. Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
We're also able to buy off U.S. communities and WISCA contracts. Well, there's a lot of cities or a lot of companies in this town who belong to, or their product lines belong to the WISCA contract or the U.S. communities contract, which is a contracting alliance.
Okay.
And what that has done is we have always had to, we just can't buy off of that. We'll have to go through the whole bid process, and then you can supply us at U.S. Communities pricing, but we had to go through that whole process that took 2 months.
Yeah.
Now we can just go ahead and I can sign off on that and say, I want to belong to U.S. Communities or WISCA, Western States Contracting Alliance, which is what that stands for, and we can be part of that group. So it's good. We're gaining efficiencies here, and I think that's what this whole bill was all about, was trying to gain efficiency.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Litz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just also add to this, and maybe Dave or Bob back there could confirm it, but I think about 5 years ago, the Associated General Contractors changed this law at the state level. And I was in on conversations with the Associated General Contractors, and if there was a problem with competition back then, it was well vetted, I assure you. And if there was some problems with somebody getting an unfair advantage over somebody else, it never happened back then. And so I think that that same idea would apply here at the city level. So it doesn't take a whole lot, when you're doing a highway project or you're doing a road project, you get up to $50,000 or $25,000, the previous amount there. So as far as anybody coming out ahead or having an unfair advantage, I just don't see that.
I would have to agree with Councilor Litz. I think the competition is still going to be there. There is no shortage of contractors in this town as far as people who want to bid on projects. I go out, I reach out to these contractors. They come out, and, I talk to them. I tell them how to do business with the city, and they're well educated. And if they want to do business with the city, they certainly can. And by raising the bid limit to $50,000 or accepting changes to these ordinances isn't going to impact them at all.
Councilor Intamin.
Just a question for you, Scott. Can you tell me, I know recently with the what's going on over in Larchwood with the construction over there, there's been some comments that 90% of the purchases have to be done in state. In our bidding processes, either at the state level or local level, do we give preference to local bidders or not?
We do. We do have a preference law. It is pretty basic. This new law kind of encapsulates some of the laws and the other chapters and puts them all together now. What we call it, we have if something is manufactured within the state of South Dakota, we do have a preference there if it's manufactured here. We also have what we call it's a reciprocal law. For example, and it's only happened once that I know of since I've been with the city, where we were bidding some road sign materials, and the low bidder out of Ohio and the next low bidder was out of South Dakota. Well, they enforced a in-state preference law there of like 10%. Well, we have a reciprocal law here, which means we can enforce it then also. So Lyle Signs out of DeSmet ended up winning the contract. That is the other in-state preference law we have there. So the new law, it does speak more about that, which is good, and it'll help the local bidders in the state and in the community here too. So
Thank you.
yeah.
One more question.
Go ahead, Councilor Urpenbach.
Reiterate for us, thank you, Councilor Jameson. Reiterate for us, Scott, does this ordinance, the way that we're rewriting it, differ in any way from the state law, the way the state law stands?
No, it does not. It does not. Really, we're basically following state law here.
Good, thank you.
It's intended to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Scott, just to simplify it for somebody watching at home, this is a good deal for Sioux Falls.
Absolutely. This is a great deal for Sioux Falls. It
protects the citizens. It's a competitive bidding process. It brings fairness to the process, right?
Absolutely. And our process before was not that it wasn't a fair process. It was a very fair process. I administer this process on a daily basis, and it is a very fair process. This bill hammers home some efficiencies that can be made in government, and I think that's the message we need to keep, and it'll still maintain the fairness, it will still maintain the competition.
Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Scott, earlier you said that'll help cut down the entire process and that you wouldn't have to do as much advertising about the bid. How do you select the companies then that will be notified of the project?
Well, the Public Works Department will take care of that on the construction side. They will either send them out to contractors that they have done business with, or they'll post it out at the Builders Exchange, which everybody has access to. It's very open in the way they go about doing that. Our policies and procedures at the city, we have to get a minimum of 2 quotations. However, anytime we do an informal bid, we tend to get more than that all the time because we have people who request the documents from us saying, hey, I hear you're doing this project, can I bid on it also? You bet. Anytime I do an informal bid, the policies and procedures at the city say I have to get 2 quotes, but I always get more than that. I go above and beyond, I guess, to try and get the best price for the taxpayer.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Scott, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
There were some questions on item 22 tonight. Are there any questions maybe that we could talk about here? I don't see Mike Cooper here to talk about it, but maybe we could answer some questions. Anybody?
Well, if I could, I asked some of the original questions, I think, and I did talk to Mike just for a minute before this. I think he'll be here at the 7 o'clock meeting to talk to us about it a little bit, but there are, my concern, first of all, was that I wasn't sure about the vote and why, if it were denied, it would come to the City Council, just a basic educational thing. And Mike's reply was, and he'll help us with some of this vocabulary for us newbies, but that this topic would come to us no matter what, whether the Planning Commission approved it or not. And then my other question had to do with the way that the neighbors in that particular neighborhood felt like they were not informed well enough about, number one, the liquor store that was approved 2 months ago, and then number two, the proposal to change the zoning to put a bar in that location on Louise Avenue, just off of Platinum Valley. And so those were my questions to Mike. He said that question of notification for planning and zoning issues is a long-term conversation, that it is something we need to revisit in terms of the size of the signs, in terms of the amount of time that the signs are required to be up, and in terms of the kinds of notification that we do for a neighborhood. And so those were my questions. I emailed that to Greg and to Mike Cooper, and just asked that we have that conversation at some point, and that we may want to revisit that ordinance about notification in specific, and this one in particular I wanted to learn a little bit more about. So I think that Mike will be here at 7.
Any other comments on that issue? I would add there's another item coming forward in a few weeks dealing with the assisted living facility off of 81st and Audie Drive. It's a similar situation. The Planning Commission recommended approval, and the applicant, the neighbors are appealing that decision. They're going to bring it forward to the council for us to make a decision on it. And after that Planning Commission meeting, I met with Meredith Larson, who is the chairman of the Planning Commission, and we discussed that process and the process of notification to the public and to the neighbors and how that process is done. And he is willing to meet with us as a group and talk about maybe ways that it could be done better and differently, and how it's been done over the years and how it's worked, and challenges that they've seen, and a lot of insight. They've been in that game full-time for a long time, and they would be able to provide a lot of leadership and advice, but they're willing to do that. And I think that would be one of the first assignments that we would want to assign to the Land Use Committee right away and get that kind of committee going. But sure, more discussion to follow on that subject. Anything else on that topic? Okay, let's move back to, well, is there any other presentations? Gene, I see you here, big wig. All right, we brought him.
Gene, you don't have the budget done yet? Oh, okay.
Let's go back to revisiting the structure of the committees, if we could, just for a minute. I think Deborah and her staff are going to work on sending out a list of these committees when they meet during the month, and we need to start formulating our plan to fulfill those seats, fill out those committees, along with some others that now you newly elected people will get to sit on and participate in. But if you've got some, questions about each of these committees, Councilor Brown, Jameson, Anderson, and Litz have all served on most of these. So if you've got questions, you've got an interest in accounting, if you've got an interest in public service, maybe there's a committee that fits you better than the other. And we certainly want to accommodate that and get the most out of you, out of your experiences in the community. So look for that information to be coming and get signed up for those. And if you don't sign up, the elected chair will sign you up, so participate. Any other open discussions that we want to talk about? We've got a lot of things. We don't have to feel rushed here. This is our time. Tonight's your first meeting. Hopefully you've had a chance to review the agenda and all the topics. There's a lot of first readings there, but still, this is the time to talk about those items on the agenda. Talk about anything else that's maybe been addressed to you as a candidate or as new elected guys as well. This is our time. We don't have to feel like you're rushed out of here. So, go ahead, Mike.
Councilor Jameson, thank you. I wanted to express to the people in Sioux Falls that already there has been some very good discussion between the mayor's office, at that time it was the mayor-elect's office, now the mayor's office, the department heads, along with the city council, along with the clerk's team, in the spirit of trying to make government more transparent. And we'll continue to work on that at least over the next 4 years. But I think we're making some good progress. There was a comment made by one of the department heads, and I relayed that to the members of the city council, is that we wanted to start with a clean slate. We basically wanted to start over. And if there were issues in the past, we wanted to make those at least go away temporarily, and we'll start over. We need the mayor's office and the city of Sioux Falls. We need the city council just as much as they need us, and we're working on that. We've already shared things like red notes amongst each other as well as amongst the department heads in the spirit of, again, trying to understand what it is that we want to accomplish. The budget, the 2011 budget, the City Council will play a more integral role in that we want to find out what are some of the priorities that the City Council has so that we can ensure that we try to instill those in the 2011 budget before it's actually presented to the City Council and to the people of Sioux Falls. The only way this works, in my mind, is by open communication. And we're going to do that as best we can. I'm going to attend more meetings. I've asked the department heads to attend more meetings. And also, if I can just ask this group, prior to the 4 o'clock, if there is a department head that you want at this 4 o'clock meeting, you can either let my office know or let the department head know, of course, directly that you want them here. If they can't be here, at a minimum, their direct report must be here for you. And we'll continue to work on that and make that better. So whether it's the 4 o'clock or the 7 o'clock, let us know. And I guess I'll reach out to the people of Sioux Falls, too. If you know there's a topic that you are going to discuss at one of these 4 o'clock informationals, then you should either let Deborah Owen at the clerk's office know, or you should call the mayor's office directly to say, I'm coming to the 4 o'clock, and this is an issue that I have, and I want someone there to help us address it. I don't want to
Mr. Mayor, could I interrupt? Sure. I apologize. There is no public input during the 4 o'clock meeting.
There is not. Okay.
So they would not be allowed to do that, but there is that 5-minute time
At
period for
7 o'clock.
each,
Okay.
any topic that folks want to talk about at the 7 o'clock meeting, absolutely. But it'd be wonderful to know ahead of time, but I'm sure very often they don't. But thank you.
Councilor Urbanbach, thank you. Again, keep educating me. But again, in that spirit of transparency and open communication, if there is somebody out there who's going to bring up a topic, I think that if there's been a request, is that we don't want surprises. The mayor's office doesn't want to surprise the city council. The city council doesn't want to surprise the mayor's office, and we don't want to try to surprise the people of Sioux Falls either. So again, it's a process. We're not going to do it all overnight, but I'm excited about it, and I think it'll make us more effective body. Thanks, Councilor Urbanbach. Keep teaching me, please.
Anybody else have any items to discuss?
Well, I do have a question about what you guys expect of this meeting. You know, many times when I've watched this meeting, it has been a series of public service announcements, and I don't know if that's the kind of thing that you want it to be. What is open discussion among the council?
Go ahead, Councilor Brown.
Traditionally, it's been those issues that aren't on the agenda that you want to learn more about. So I encourage you to bring those forward. Or it could be communication that you've received from citizens that you want to make known to the entire body. Those are a couple examples of what it was traditionally used for.
Good.
Okay, anybody else? Come on, there's got to be something.
I would, if I may,
Yes.
I would also suggest, especially for newer members, if there are departments that you have questions about, this is an opportunity for us to ask those department heads to be here ahead of time so we can all learn together on programs they're offering or changes going on or anything like that.
Well, that is something that we had talked about, is that let's just start at square one. You know, let's remind ourselves, what does Public Works do? You know, what is the police department about? What's their budget look like? Those kinds of things. The other topic that we've talked about just a little bit is that idea of reviewing the executive orders from our standpoint and from the mayor's office standpoint. Let's take 5 a week or whatever and you know, just start reviewing those kinds of things so that we start to understand. And when I say we, I don't mean just us as council people, but I mean citizens in general. What is an executive order and how is it used and what are they about? It's all public information. It's all available on siouxfalls.org. But what does it mean, and are we using them correctly? That would be a topic that I would like to see come up.
Okay, we're taking notes. One of the items I wanted to cover was our leadership meeting that occurred after the 9 o'clock directors meeting. They call it the leadership meeting, where the council chair and the mayor visit. And we had a short discussion after last Thursday's meeting. And Deborah has some notes that I'll have her email on to you all. Generally, the mayor-elect then, Mike Huther and I and Deborah Owen met, and generally what we discuss is just the logistics of how that meeting goes and things that we want to cover and discuss. Mike had shared a couple of priorities of his, like the railroad relocation project and fixing some of the streets, repairing the streets, and then building new ones. What I'd like to do is have a list for the chair to bring to that meeting as well, that we as a group build, and so that we can come to the mayor and say, these are some of the top hot items for us to discuss and we'd like attention on, and they're coming forward. It's kind of a working list. And it may not change every week, but it may be a few items that are of priorities for us, and we can discuss those in a productive fashion. Generally, our discussion last week was really just about the logistics and what the mayor-elect has been doing, meeting with you as a group, and with Mayor Munson at the time, and all the things that they've been going through. But I'll get these notes passed to you. But in the future, we need to have probably a little more together before we meet with the mayor on those Thursday meetings for the chair to discuss what our priorities are as well. Mayor Huther had mentioned getting a list from us, and I know when we met some time ago, we worked on a short list of some of the things that are important to us. We need to pare that down to a workable list that we can address and give to the administration so that, frankly, sooner than later, they know what our priorities are as well, and they can get to addressing that when they formulate the budget. So, I don't want to give anybody homework, But if there was a vice chair, I don't know who that might be, but that might be something to formulate, is to pare this list down, get it through everybody, and so that it's ready for Thursday to bring to the mayor's director's meeting. Yes, Councilor Entman.
Question. Is it appropriate to ask the mayor a question here?
You betcha.
May I? Mike? Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. It's hard to get used to calling you Mr. Mayor since you're my neighbor, by the way.
It's hard to even receive it.
I know that.
We're mowing the lawn together.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, the question that I have is, I know that you had expressed an interest in that railroad relocation project, and I don't know if there are plans to update the council on where we're at with that, because I think all of us would like to see that really move forward as quick as possible.
When I started on that Monday, that was 2 weeks ago, when Mayor Munson was kind enough to invite me into his office to let me actually utilize an office right beside his. One of the very first meetings I had was with Mike Cooper and Mark Cotter, and I had expressed to them that in my mind we were 2 years behind where we needed to be on that project. Mark Cotter has already gathered his team, and they are already working on that. That is something that I believe we can get accomplished very quickly. The funds have been waiting in the wings for years. It's a project that will create economic development opportunities for Sioux Falls, will create jobs for Sioux Falls. I hate using this word, but it's almost like a stimulus package for the city of Sioux Falls, too. It is. It's money that when we infuse it into the city of Sioux Falls, we're all going to win, as well as it'll improve things like traffic flow in our city, and will get us prepared for even greater things to come as South Dakota and Sioux Falls evolves over time. What I'll do, Councilor, is that when I get a better update here, give me a week to a week and a half. I'm meeting with all the department heads along with members of their team, and I'm going to get updates from every one of them on some of the good things that they're doing. And whether it's Mark Cotter on the roads, Mark Cotter on the railroad projects, or let's talk about the Event Center Task Force, or crime, or whatever it is, I'd be happy to answer any of those questions at this time. Plus, Councilor, if you wanted to talk specifically about the status of the railroads, then let's bring Mark or someone from his team, and let's just answer those questions then. But yeah, there's so many great things. My platform during the campaign is really not going to change. Those are the things I want to focus on for the first 100 to 365 days while I'm your mayor. But things like the railroad relocation, oh my gosh, what a tremendous opportunity, and we're already working on it.
Thanks, Mayor. I guess, I'm just anxious, as you can imagine, as we all are, and I want to just assure everybody out there, too, that, we have a real big learning curve in a very short time to try to get this stuff all put together, and I'm really anxious to get going on it, too. And I can appreciate the need to get your feet on the ground here, Mike, and get it,
Well, I wanted to run effective tomorrow morning. I didn't want to just come out of the starting blocks. But we're already running. The department heads are already at a new pace that I think they're enjoying, they're invigorated by. And let me talk about this railroad project real quick. The initial comments I received from Mark Cotter were very positive. He feels good about it. Certainly there's going to be some challenges that we're going to face along the way, but the initial indications were very positive. But I need to give you more concrete talk than just very positive, and we'll do that. Councilor Endemann.
One other item we've got tonight on the council meeting is the election of the chair and vice chair. I think everybody's been talking amongst themselves about that issue. Hopefully, if there's any other questions, feel free to ask around. All right, anything else, guys?
Councilor, just one more thing. Is it vice chaired? Is that what I call you?
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Your Honor.
But I'll.
Your Honor, Vice Chair, Councilor Jameson. Vice Chair Jameson mentioned about the opportunities that you have for the department heads, but also if you have issues involving the department heads, or if you have issues involving the city of Sioux Falls, that's also a good thing to relay to Deborah or to Vice Chair Jameson in the spirit of improving the productivity of my team with you as well. So it's opportunities, but it's also issues. So again, let's start with a clean slate. Let's talk about the good, bad, and indeed the uglies of what this working relationship that we have, and let's improve it.
Councilor Brown.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, how do you intend to communicate to us in terms of the department heads and the timeline for appointments of those?
That's a very appropriate question. Here, I'm not going to talk about personalities, of course, in this forum, and I'm going to try not to talk about personalities, of course, in front of the media. But I do believe there needs to be a level of transparency in terms of changes that I'd like to see happen within the department heads. And I'm going to try to find that balance between maintaining confidentiality to protect the individual, their families, their well-being, but at the same time, we all report to the citizens of Sioux Falls. Work with me a little bit, Councilor Brown, through that. I'll tell you, you will know, of course, before the media knows, but I want to also make sure that the employee knows before you know. There will be changes. There will. But I'm also trying to give a confidence level amongst the 12 department heads that I haven't made up my mind on anything yet. I would like to give them all an opportunity to succeed. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie to you folks either and say there will be no changes soon. There are going to be. There are going to be. My plan is this. Once I decide that I want to make a change, I certainly am going to work with Deborah and who right now it's Vice Chair Jameson, and then we'll see who the Chair and Vice Chair are after tonight's meeting to let them know. If it's something that we can send via a notice or an email to all 12 of you, we'll certainly do that. Because again, I think that that word surprise is something that we don't want to be wrapped up in. As well as some of the appointments I can actually do on my own without receiving your approval. However, the vast majority of them, I do need the approval of the City Council. So I want to, again, try to be transparent, but also professional and confidential. So I'm going to have to work through that with the new chair, with the new vice chair, with Deborah and her team, and we'll work that out. Vernon, that was a long answer. I don't even know if I answered it. I apologize. It sounds pretty political, didn't it?
I just wanted to see how the communication would go in what order, and you answered that.
As open as I can be and still maintaining the confidentiality and protect that employee in some way. We'll work through it, Councilor Brown, and you'll have to help me.
I can see we're going to need to get a little timer buzzer for the mayor.
New mayor, I know.
I'm a little shocked when his time is up. No, thank you for your comments, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Any other comments? If not, we're going to move to adjourn this meeting.
Watch your phone.
We actually don't need a point of order. We don't need a motion to adjourn this meeting, do we?
Thank you.
Deborah.
Should we sign out of everything?